Hello, you. It is me. And I was watching Toddy One Skip, who brought to my attention once again through a creator called Rose Red, who I'm not familiar with, but I will try to get more familiar with. She brought up the fact that in this video, where Gypsy, night 3 a colic, and she's patting the baby, and oh my god, the baby's so loud and crazy, and anybody who is a mother hears that cry and you immediately go into like urgent mode, because that's what that cry sounds like. I will not play it because it immediately sets alarms off, I know, for me. But she pointed out that the cries that are in the little clip are the same or sound extremely similar to an app that she found that has baby cries too. And I thought that was interesting. And what it made me think about is that perhaps Gypsy doesn't realize that a baby crying changes as they get older. You know, the crying of a newborn, which is kind of what that crying sounded like. The crying of a newborn is a lot different than a crying of a 6-month-old or 7-month-old or an almost 8-month-old. And so my guess is that Rose Red was, and Toddy, by way of Rose Red, I think that they might be correct that Gypsy overlaid with an app in order to make it look so dire and horrendous, but she didn't realize that her baby was a little bit older and probably wouldn't fit that cry. That's a mother knows that usually, and maybe she just wanted to do it for drama. But a lot of people have suspected that a lot of the baby sounds that we hear, even in the background, are from apps. And once again, could it be Gypsy, because she's not a mother, or at least not a good mother, doesn't realize that newborn baby cries are different? And or even 3-month-old baby cries are different from a 6-month-old or an 8-month-old. They're all very different. They change over time because they grow so much over time. So when an infant is first born, they have a specific cry. As they get older and are more developed, the cry changes. It becomes more mature. And so maybe Gypsy is just doing that, not realizing that a baby cry isn't just a baby cry. Now, and I know a lot of you think there is no baby, and this certainly would suggest, allegedly, my thoughts, my feelings, that maybe there isn't a baby, because we haven't seen the baby grow, we haven't seen the baby move hardly. And I thought that maybe that could be because Aurora the baby had some delays, which could absolutely be possible, which just makes me more concerned for her, to be honest with you. But maybe also it's that if there is a baby, the baby doesn't cry like that. That's just the apps that Gypsy has found to overlay on top of, so that we think there's a baby in the room when there's not. Now, this is just me. This is not facts. This is just my thoughts. This is my suspicions. But it does definitely fall more toward the sides of there's no baby, or there's no real baby. We all know during the pregnancy, and I have videos on it myself, just noticing the bump changes sizes from day to day. even in the same day. And it looked like I said, it looked like there was a cover over the baby bump. And I thought maybe that was like a protective thing, or maybe it's just a fake baby bump. You know, I don't know. I can't answer these questions. I can only throw up suspicions, things that I've been thinking about. But if there is in fact a baby, maybe the baby is healthy. Maybe we've never actually heard the real baby, if there is a real baby. Or maybe it is just a doll. I mean, I can't remember who did it. I think it was Barbara Ann, Straight Outta Context. Was she the one who saw that there was like an R or something on the head of the baby, like right in the middle? If you take a really, really close look, you can see like a letter there. I can't remember. I've seen so many dang YouTube videos about this. I hope I'm right on that. If not, I will correct it, or you guys will correct it for me. But and I thank you for that, by the way, because I want to give the best information that I can. That way our discussions are more fun, because we're going based on real things. We're going based on real stuff that's happening and stuff that has shown evidence to be real, instead of just like making up shit like Gypsy does. Just makes it on the spot. So yeah, if there is a baby, we just might not have heard the baby. It's just apps making noises that are a little too young for her. That's why they sound high pitched or like cat-like. Some people have said. And it definitely, they sound disturbing. There's no doubt about it. A baby of her age of Aurora the baby's age, should not sound like that. But maybe that's because Gypsy's she doesn't know any better. She doesn't pay attention. I don't know if that's it or not, but it was just a suspicion. If there is in fact a baby, I lean more toward maybe not a baby. You know, maybe they're just borrowing from a friend once in a while, but there actually isn't a baby. I don't know. I hate to say that. I hated to say that even when it looks so suspicious with the baby bump changing constantly, because it just seems like, why would someone lie about that? And I did have my thoughts on that maybe it'll be her, what is the name of it in football? Like their ultimate play, you know, I can't remember what it's called. But I thought maybe this would be like her ultimate play. If things get really bad, then she can claim, oh, my child is very ill, or oh, my child has met her grandmother. Do you know what I mean? It's so hard for me to say the words when it comes to a baby. It's too hard. It makes me, I'm already feeling tears. So I'm not going to say directly, but yeah, like the baby met her grandmother, you know? The one that Gypsy, you know, put to sleep. You know what I'm saying, I hope. Anyway, I wonder if that's like her Hail Mary. That's what it's called. I wonder if that's her Hail Mary, so that people ultimately feel sorry for her loss. And I hate to think of anybody doing something so absolutely disgusting. But we're talking about Gypsy Rose Blanchard. It will be a great way for her to get a whole lot of sympathy, and for Ken, that'll give him his exit out. You know, they'd have to wait a little while and then he would exit out, and they would blame it on the stress of the loss. I hope to God that's not what's happening. But then again, if Gypsy's using all these apps to make baby noises, if there is a baby, where is it? They're planning on moving, we suspect, Texas. I don't know if they've announced that or not, but they have announced that they are moving. So who's taking care of the child? If there is in fact a child, Where is Aurora the baby? It I know that I keep harping on it, but she's a baby. She's innocent and she cannot defend herself. And I just keep thinking of all these crazy scenarios in my brain, this one being the newest. So I'm still on the fence. But it looks more like there isn't a baby, that they're just faking it all. But then again, you have to ask, why are they faking it all? And then if there is a baby, where is the baby? Because babies are not quiet. Babies babble, babies make noise, babies burp and fart and giggle and cry, and they're babies. So why don't we ever actually hear Aurora the baby if it's all just apps? It's all very confusing, which I'm sure was the plan all along. But I don't know. You guys tell me what you think, because you guys have some of the best thoughts and ideas. You really do. And I love reading them. Oh, and by the way, somebody in the comments did mention that there was no baby mentioned in the divorce papers. I clocked that too. And thank you for reminding me of that. Because that I thought was extremely suspicious. When she's ready to pop, they're getting a divorce and there's no mention of the baby. And yet they had paperwork to show that Anderson was written as the last name of the baby. So how does that work? She gives birth and Ryan is named as the father until they change it. But there was no mention of it in the divorce decree at all. Not one thing about children, where it should have been, especially if he was named the father. That makes no sense. So I'm very confused about that. Maybe you guys have some thoughts on that as well. Everything just makes no sense. That's honestly, that's it. Everything just makes no sense. And I know that I'm not going to say Gypsy specifically, but I will say it is likely that her family, because they've been around Louisiana a long time, that maybe they got people in their pocket who will lie for them. Maybe, allegedly, not saying it's fact. But, I mean, the whole family seems to lie. In fact, I had a theory about... Case was talking today about how Christy sent him pictures of Aurora the baby, and he thinks she was trying to set him up to share out the pictures and leak it. But how do we know that that's Aurora the baby? How do we know it's not the baby of a cousin, like someone else mentioned, or I don't know, a doll? Those real dolls, whatever they're called, real babies, they look real. You take a picture, it's hard to decipher whether it's a real baby or it's a baby doll. Those things are very realistic. But yeah, who's to say the pictures that she sent were actually of Aurora the baby? Maybe they were someone else's baby. I mean, you remember when Gypsy sent out a picture saying, "Oh, look at my beautiful daughter," and it turned out that it was a 5-year-old picture of some influencer's child who happened to be named Gypsy Rose. The baby was named Gypsy Rose, I believe. So why would we put it past him that they sent fake baby pictures? It's all very convoluted, and I would love to get down to the truth of the matter. The only thing that we can do is pick up on the clues and things that they leave behind, because, I mean, honestly, they're not very good at covering themselves up. We as a community have picked out a lot of things. But the baby thing, I think it's because half of us at least can't fathom the idea of faking a baby. And the other half are like, this is Gypsy Rose. What do you expect? So, and we all kind of feel like that. And yet, at some point, people are going to see the baby. So it doesn't make sense to make a baby up. I don't know. I just hope the scenario that I came up with in my brain is not something. I mean, Gypsy is low. She's trash. She's gross. She killed her mother. So would she go that low to pretend the gone of a baby? I mean, it's possible. It's Gypsy. I hate to think that. I shudder to think. I don't even like I said, I don't even like saying it. But was that the plan all along? Because we know she makes plans years in advance. She's capable of it. She's done it already. So, who's to say? I don't know. But I would love to hear what you guys think, what you guys say about it. Because it just more and more, all this fakery. Is there a kid? Is Aurora the baby a real baby? I just don't know. I just don't know. Anyway, thank you for listening. And that's all I got to say.